Welcome everybody to another edition of W 2005 here in TEW 2020 as it's time for the go-home shows for Fall Brawl 2005 as we're at Nitro live from San Jose, California as the Youngsters put over the big tag match tonight as the Hardy Boys 6 days out from their tag title defense against America's Most Wanted at Fall Brawl face off against Alex Wright and Chavo, who are teaming up again, for the past few months after being former tag champions last year, and now they're getting another shot at the tag titles after the winning the 4-way last week. But we go to the ring for our opening match. This was not good. Like, why was this so bad? Like, hold on. Like, I expected like 40s for this, but not like, hold on. Okay, Lynn was hit by physical momentum, power momentum for Shannon Moore. Okay, I mean, all right. Well, the crowd doesn't care, but I care. As Austin Aries and Recluse being forced to team after, even though they're facing off in the near future for the Cruiserweight title. As Austin Aries and Recluse does defeat Jerry Lynn and Shannon Moore in a little over 5 minutes with 450 splash. Like, considering they're facing off in a couple of weeks, and it appears maybe Reckless Youth, or at least Tracy, tried to get Romeo to, distract Austin Aries last week. It looks like maybe they're fine. Just heels, considering heels are going to do heel things, but regardless, they get the win here. This only gets a 34. Roberts gets a 63. Aries gets a 57. Moore gets a 46. Lynn gets a 44. But yeah, all right. But of course, what happens here is, they're stumbling his heels, and then we see, Romeo coming down the ringside with Tracy Roberts, and Austin Aries just turns Reckless around, hits him with the brainbuster, and Romeo does nothing to stop it, and he just walks away. Tracy's upset. Reckless Roberts is wiped out. Aries making title belt motions. And again, these are all three heels, but their heels can get along, and the crowd can sort of side with who they want, at least at the moment, until I build up a babyface who actually can matter in the Cruiserweight division, which is something I've just failed at. Like, I've got somebody coming up from Developmental soon who should hopefully help, but I might have to do some indie writing to build up some people or something, because, yeah, it's really outweighed, but, like, there's people, like, big thing is the Suzuki thing, Sasaki rather, it was a fun idea till I realized after I signed him, he was working like basically every Sunday. And there we go. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing as I try to rebuild things up sort of from scratch, as most of my over cruiserweights are now totally out of the division and way beyond it. Anyway, this gets a 46 as we move forward. As we go backstage where Teddy Hart is talking to Jack Evans, and he's basically like, Jack, what the hell did you do last week? Like, there's no reason, like, Eddie, like, look, I've got all the faith in your talent, man, but you can't go, like, pissing off random people. And Jack's like, it's fine. Look, it's no problem. Like, I talked to him. It's over with, he doesn't even matter. Like, he's got bigger things to worry about. So don't worry, man. I just give him peace of my mind, and that's it. And then snaps Eric Bischoff. And Eric's like, well, it's interesting, because I did see that. And, I heard some talk online and, among the wrestlers. So I thought of something interesting. You guys compete with Sean Hare tonight against Eddy Guerrero, Shane Helms, and Titus Tomko in a 6-man tag match. And we'll just see if Eddie took your words to heart, Jack. And Bischoff walks away smirking. Remember, Eric isn't a full-on heel. He's just a bastard who wants ratings, and this will bring him ratings. Hart just sort of like stares at Jack, and he shrugs. He says, guess we gotta go find Sean and get to work. As it gets an 82, fun little backstage segment. And then we go backstage where Borash is with the Hardys and basically, asks about facing Wright and Chavo this week. And, Jeff and Matt do typical babyface promo saying they're looking forward to face a great team like Alex, Wright, and Chavo. They were already no longer team by the time they're back, but, it's going to be a great tag team match. It's a great tag team main event that everybody in the audience is being proud of. And after we win, it's on to face another great team in America's Most Wanted. And we're looking forward to giving the fans their money worth. Just a very babyface promo, a little cocky, but they should be. They're the world champions. And then we move forward as this gets an 83. And then we have the, continuing feud between Chosen Few and Truth, Gigantes, and Brother Ray. And one thing I didn't mention is Truth got way over, probably from a combination of beating Jarrett and then winning the US title. So when he comes out, like, What's It hits or whatever WCW version we're using, and he gets a big pop. Like, he's like above 80s now, basically everywhere. So he's like one of our top faces on Nitro at least. And this is a fun match. Eventually Truth and Devine, are outside. Things get broken up, and then Jindrak just brings the Gigantes but with a chair as the ref is trying to deal with everything else, and he just like wipes him out and gets a pinfall victory. Like straightforward heels being heels victory here, as this gets a 78 as they get to win in a little over 11 minutes. Gigante gets a 50 again. And I'm being honest here, he should have been replaced by Ray Gordy at this point, but Gordy got injured again right after he got back, so here we are. Truth gets an 83 because he's great. Devine gets a 70. Jindrak gets a 74. In a weird way, like, Devine could be part of my Cruiserweight division, but that would just be another heel. So that's one reason, like, I haven't dropped him there, because, like, there's no point. I really, like, have so many heels. Like, he could maybe be, like, a heel champ defending against Reina Bayface and getting them over, but I'll just try continuing to team, an over Cruiserweights with over heavyweights or Cruiserweights that are no longer in the division. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, this gets a 78. Good stuff. And the heels celebrate afterwards to a 66. And then we go backstage where Reckless and Tracy are pissed at Romeo. And Romeo's like, I do what I want here. And look, Tracy, me and you had fun. And Tracy looked sort of embarrassed, like, just stop talking about that. I thought, we made a deal. That's it. That's all you need to know. And Romeo's like, but our job here is done, okay? I'm going to wrestle for myself. And that's it. Good luck against Aries. He walks away as Reckless looks over at Tracy. And Tracy's like, don't worry, I still have a plan. 47, decent stuff. Again, only way these guys will get better is if we actually do them in promos. Anyway, we go cut backstage where, of course, Tajiri, who returned last week, is, doing Tajiri stuff in the background. Alex Wright's a little worried. He's like, are you sure he has our back? Here, he's been gone for a few weeks. And it's not like he's always been the greatest guy. And Chavo's like, no, look, me and Tajiri, we've been doing your stuff. We've been teaming up. He's back, but we're together now. Tonight, we're going to win the tag champs, man. Guerrero, right, together again. World Tag Champs like we should have been. Right? Like, fine. Let's do this tonight. Let's show the world why we're the best tag team on the planet once, and we can be it again. That's Wonderbar. Chavo agrees and, says something in Spanish along the same lines. And this gets to 67, and there we go. And, yeah, moving on. And then we have, Frye's promo music hits, and out comes Randy Savage along with Don Frye, and Savage takes the mic. And Savage goes, oh yeah, we're here, right here in San Jose. Let me tell you something. This man, the Predator, he's still the baddest man on the planet. Even though he's lost a couple times, that's happened in this business. Nobody goes 1,000-0. He's still the cream of the crop, top mountain, best of the best. But, it's hilarious. This man. You think nobody would want to fight this man unless you're forced to. But Matt Sydal, one of those little twerps that were wrestling with Ray Jr. last week, he went to Bischoff. And he looked Eric in the eye and he said, I want Frye in the ring. Now, I dig that in a way, because that's brave. But there's brave and there's stupid. And Matt, buddy, pal, brother, that was stupid. Sydal, you're stepping into something you don't understand. A fight you can't actually win. This man is a predator. He's gone against kickboxers, brawlers, tough mans, men whose hands are registered as deadly weapons, and he defeated them all. You're just a young kid who can do some flips. So, you've got guts, but lots of men with guts have gotten a beating, and that's what's about to happen to you after the Predator is done with you. So, 80, solid promo, as we move forward onto the match. And, yeah, wait, this only went, okay, that's hilarious, it went 6 minutes, and there's still not enough psychology. So yeah, this is just Don Frye killing somebody. Sydal gets a little bit spots him, but eventually I imagine he actually gets a little bit burst violence near the end. He goes for a springboard move, and he flips right into a submission hold from into the crossarm breaker, and Frye gets hold on. Sydal taps out, and there you go. This only gets to 66. Frye gets a 67. Sydal gets 61. This is the other reason why I've sort of down pushed Frye a bit, because he's not that good in the ring. Even though he's still pretty over, he just doesn't have good matches. And then post-match, Frye is keeping the hold on. Ref is trying to break him up, and Savage standing between them. When somebody slips in the ring, pushes Savage away, pulls Frye off him. Frye turns around, right to look at him, and it's Canyon. And Canyon out of nowhere, boom, Canyon cutter. And then Canyon rolls out of the ring, and it looks like Canyon, a few weeks after being back, last time we saw him was at the pay-per-view where he got, injured his, twisted his knee. He was out for a few weeks, now he's back, and he saved Matt Sydal from being attacked by Don Frye. And this gets a 70 for his return. And then we cut to the outside of the arena where we see Jarrett, Jindrak, and Devine heading into a limo, and Barnes tries to catch up with him and tries to ask him what's going on. And Jarrett's like, look, Slapnuts, I don't have a match tonight. My men got a big victory again, including over the US United States champion. So we are partying. We're having a good time because we are the chosen few of professional wrestling. They get in the limo and they're gone. And this gets a 71. And then we have another match in the feud that some people really despise and I enjoy, but what can you do? As it's Raven and the Prophet, not Macias because they don't clip. As it's a mayhem match. Macias and everybody else doesn't get directly involved, but they're around, and it goes only about 3 minutes, and eventually Raven it says pile driver, but it's even flow DT. Hits even flow on a chair and gets pinfall over Wrathchild in a little under 4 minutes. This gets a 59. Prophet gets a 43. Raven gets a 71. Killswitch gets a 66. Wrathchild gets a 58. And, Secreton roll out of the ring. And, they just sort of disappear before Raven takes the mic. And he sort of taps it before, taking it. And he says the following. Oof, did I actually book him? Wait, let me see here. Okay, interesting. Well, this only got a 62. I think maybe I actually rated Prophet and Macias, which I probably shouldn't have, but oh well. That's the way you build people. Again, Ranger takes Mike says, Morningstar, you talk about a reckoning like it's something to be feared. You talk about balance and forces and power and forces we don't understand. But here's what you fail to understand, Morningstar. I'm not afraid. There's Prophet. He doesn't know the word afraid. See, we know the truth. The message, it's a lie. It's a falsehood. It's BS you make up to control people who can be controlled. It's a distortion of the truth. You claim to bring balance or whatever, but all you bring is destruction, chaos, and conflagration. Now, I don't mind that, but only when I'm in control. Morningstar, we're not afraid you're Deadpool. We're not afraid of the warnings, the threats, the predictions, because we know what's really at stake here. One way or another, you will kneel. Quote the Raven, nevermore. 62, decent promo, mainly because they rated Prophet and Macias, but, there you go. And then we cut to a random club where, hey, Jarrett, Jindrak, and Devine are partying with some women. Basically, women who were available, they talk about how they're going to take the US title from Truth. Show Brother Ray he's nothing but a street rat, blah, blah, blah. And, Gigantes should, go back to teaming with Reno or whatever. And Jarrett says Slapnuts a bit. And, basically we focus on the sexy women who are there because this is 2005 wrestling. But still, 80, good stuff. And then we cut backstage where Johnny Barash is with Cannon. And, Barash asks him, why he came up there. And Cannon's like, I was gone for a couple weeks because I did get injured and nobody would clear me. Now I'm back for a reason to make a statement. You see, Fry, last couple months, I've been adrift. Guerrero beat me in cage heat, and, that happened. Kidman beat me, and that's that. I'm glad he no longer has the belt, but, it is what it is. But I needed to refocus myself. I thought helping Brother Ray then would focus myself, but it really didn't, plus I got injured. But then I saw you, I saw Savage talking, just because some kid made his shot. But here's the thing, in pro wrestling, you have to do that. In this business, you have to make the shot that nobody thinks you have a chance at, because otherwise you're going to be stuck doing nothing forever. If I would have started can cuttering people, I would have been still stuck in doing random tag matches on Saturday night. If I didn't make my mark, I wouldn't be here today. So Fry, you want to step up somebody your own size? Come fight me, and you'll be reminded by nobody's better than Canyon. So 83, good promo from Canyon as we move forward. Only a 4-minute promo, so there you go. And then we got backstage where Truth is backstage, and he sort of asked Grace Suzuki and Reno, who are backstage doing random wrestler backstage stuff, if they've seen Brother Ray. Suzuki just sort of like shrugs and, wordlessly lets no. And Reno says, haven't seen him, boss, as Truth walks away. So Brother Ray's not around, as it gets a 74. And then we have our 6-man tag match. Shane Helms, Eddy Guerrero, Titus Tomko, Sean O'Haire, and the Hart Legacy. And this is your very typical 6-man tag match. Everybody gets their spots in. Hart Legacy look good teaming together. Titus throws people around. Shane Helms throws some super kicks. Eddie looks great because he's Eddy Guerrero. Sean O'Haire gets to do some power spots of his own. We get a little face-off between O'Haire and Tomko where they battle, and people are into that, pop for it. But eventually things break down, and there's a little bit of distraction. Shane Helms hits a low blow on Teddy. Tomko eventually takes over, and as Eddie and O'Haire are brawling on the outside, and Jack Evans has been taken out by Shane Helms' super kick to the back of the head, Tomko hits Teddy with the chainsaw cutter and picks up the pinfall right here on Nitro for a heel victory. This gets a 79. Jack Evans gets a 94. Teddy Hart gets a 75. Shane gets an 83. Titus Tomko gets a 52. Eddie gets a 93. Shane Helms gets an 88. Let's see. What was it? Anything else going on here? Teddy Hart was low morale. Tomko poor selling. I mean, yeah. All right. And there we go. Fun stuff. 79 overall. He'll celebrate, as the announcers say, Eddy Guerrero may have something to say about this next week. But it's a big win for Helms and Tomko as well over the Hart Legacy former tag team champions. 68 as we move forward. And then we have Ric Flair backstage. And he has Blaster Lashley and Claudio Cesaro standing beside him. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am the greatest player in the game, and I prove it. I proved it every single night in that ring. The Nature Boy has brought these men to WCW for an evolution in this business. And we are not going to be stopped. Because I'm still a limo riding, jet flying son of a gun, but I know I gotta pass on my knowledge. And these two men will be the future. Blaster Lashley, former military man, former college wrestling All-American. Claudio Cesaro, knows 5 languages, one of the great techno wrestlers in the game today. I will teach them to be great. And Ninkayo, whatever you call yourself, Yang, Kaz, you're great wrestlers, but you haven't learned from Nature Boy. You learn from Stacy Keibler. I'm sure you can learn a lot from her, but you can't learn how to wrestle. She may be a great manager in the ways of business, but this business is not a business. It's a sport about blood, sweat, and tears, and I can guide these guys, to the top. Woo! 59, decent promo, because again, I rated Cesaro and Lashley, because you can gotta start rating these guys' stuff. And then we have Bill Goldberg exiting Bischoff's office, and then he walks straight into Mike Awesome, who's also outside of Bischoff's office. They have a stare down. Goldberg says, "Looks like you're stuck here now, huh?" Awesome says, "Look, sooner or later, I'll be back with triumvirate. Yes, for now, I'm on Nitro, but I'm still ready to destroy." Where it says, "Well, we'll just see about that, man." And then he walks away, as Awesome goes into Bischoff's office as well, as this gets a 74. I believe next is a tag match, or maybe not. No, okay. We have a Revolution recap focusing on the big 10-man last week, including AJ Styles getting the big victory. Then it's time for our tag team match. Main event. Okay, not quite as good as I wanted. Let me see here. Before I go over the match, let me see, was there anything, really... let's see here. Announcing work, low heat for the storyline, inconsistency. Okay, I mean, yeah. Okay, but I mean, this is still a very good wrestling match. Just sort of hurt by the outside stuff. But Jeff Hardy, why? I want to trust you to be a top guy, but you... So many drugs, man. Anyway, this is a very good high-end, I mean, it's... Hardy Boys, Wright and Chavo in 2005, and this is a version of Wright and Chavo who've been consistently pushed, and are actually probably better wrestlers than they were at this time. And this is just a back-and-forth, very solid tag match. And the story match is Wright and Chavo are actually good as the Hardys. They are a well-oiled machine when they're trying to team together. Double teams, double suplexes, big moves, Wright, Chavo hitting a sort of a missile drop kick right into a big suplex from Wright. Wright locking in one end of a submission, Chavo locking the other end. Quick tags, big moves, sort of modified electric chair drop into a cutter. But the Hardys fight back, Matt Hardy takes the blow, Jeff Hardy comes in, House of Fire, hits the sort of like his big, like sort of like wacky, jumping off of Matt's back into the corner, Matt hits a Twist of Fate, Jeff goes for the Senton Bomb, but Wright and Chavo are out, and then, they fight, and then, it appears right near the end that, like, they're fighting, and just as Wright locks Matt into an STF, out comes Stacy Keibler. Of course, the ref is a little distracted by this. Oh, Wright doesn't have messed up the finish here. Wright has Matt in the STF. Stacy Keibler comes out the ringside. The ref sort of yells at him. Wright goes locking the hold, but Matt actually gets to the ropes as the ref notices it. Stacy sort of paces out ringside a little bit more for a couple minutes. Things break down again, and eventually there's a big spot where all four men end up down. Chavo's the legal man, so's Jeff. Wright's struggling to get up. Chavo actually gets up to his feet, look over where Chavo's fallen, but then as Stacy is up on the ring apron, distracting the referee, Kaz slides in, and Chavo turns right around to a kicker right to the head. He's down. Jeff is slowly getting up in the other corner. Yeah, he hasn't seen. Kaz slips out. Stacy gets down from the ring apron. The ref turns around to see Jeff nailing Chavo with a Swanton Bomb. 1, 2, 3. Hardys make a defense number 4 of the World Tag Titles. This gets an 81. Chavo gets an 84. Wright gets a 79. Matt gets an 88. Jeff gets 100. So doing a little bit of quick math here. 94, 81. We probably lost about 5-6 points because of the announcing. Yeah, we might have to look into our announcers because I know this is consistently not doing great. This match especially, Tony, wow, okay. And then we have our post-match stuff. As Tajiri comes down, tries to explain to the ref what happens, he throws him off. Okay. And then, Wright sort of, turns on him and says, why weren't you here? Tajiri, makes gestures that he couldn't get out of his locker room. Chavo steps in between him. Wright pushes Chavo away. Chavo turns right around. And we have some arguing as Nitro goes off the air. But here's the thing. Nitro's not going off the air. We get to another video as it's the chosen few leaving the club on their own. And then out of the shadows comes Brother Ray. And he jumped we have a little minute or two where it's obviously they're all drunk, singing loudly, we even maybe at a little throwback where Jeff is singing, with my baby, a line from With My Baby Tonight. But Brother Ray comes out of the shadows and just beats the shit out of them. He throws Jindrak Devine right into a wall of outside. He nails Jindrak with a few punches and slams him onto the roof of the limo. Tries to go after him, but he's intoxicated, so Brother Ray's ready, picks him up and power bombs him. Sort of runs away, but he ends up on the roof of the limo because leading him for the spot here, and Brother Ray picks him up and power bombs him through the sort of open roof of the limo into the limo, and he begins ranting about, says, and there's lots of bleeps. Bleep, this bleep. I'm done with you. This is all gonna be over. So 99, really good, things to end things, as this gets an overall in 86. Okay, good stuff. Not honestly, this was a very meh show, right? Right until the end. Jesus. Okay. Wow. If this is that could have been actually wow. I am upset about that. About not the backstage, not about sort of that tag match. I was really hoping that tag match would do an 86, 87. And it might have, if not for the, I guess the heat, I'm going to guess the low heat of the angle of the Wright Chavo angle maybe hurt it by a point or two. And then also the announcing also hit it for another couple points. Because that could have been like an 86 or 87 if not for that stuff. But hey, you live and learn, right? And Matt, how do you, well, Jesus Christ. Okay, Steve Lombardi doing future matches with Walter, sure. Anyway, we go to Nitro. We got a 2.67, not bad. And then Raw, of course, only an 84, which is interesting, as they got a 2.90. Okay, so they had Thrasher defeating LA Smooth, interesting. Viscera defeating Adam Jacobs in a table match. Rick Steiner and Grandmaster Sexy defeated Fit Finley and Crowbar. Oh yeah, they signed Fit approximately 2 seconds after he left the promotion. Vampiro defeated Charlie Haas. Sandman and the APA. I guess Bradshaw's just back and teaming with Farouk. Okay. Defeated Crash Holly and TNA. Okay. Batista defeated DDP and CM Punk. And in the main event, Edge and Angle defeated Big Show and Chris Jericho in 100. So, there you go. Yeah, outside of that, okay, just the Steam Lombardi and drug test fees. So, there you go. Yep, all right. That's about it. So I'll be back in just a second with Revolution. And welcome everybody to Revolution as we start to show off really hot, a lot hotter than I expected. As the Truth, your new US champion, comes out, big crowd pop, what's up, all that good stuff. But out of nowhere, Lance Storm and Billy Kidman attack the man who took the US title off their stablemate, even though they're currently separated. Mike Awesome, and they just he's entering, they just come down the basically the ring entrance and just get him from behind, throw him into the ring. And it looks like there's about to beat down when AJ Styles comes out, runs him off. There's Styles takes the mic and says he's sick and tired of Kidman and Storm's BS. This isn't your show anymore. This is my show. I'm the face that runs the place. I have the call shot for a reason. And Truth is ready and has a little rap on them. And we have a tag match set up for later tonight, as this gets a 97. Really good. To be fair, I didn't rate Lance, but, that's sort of a cheating, but also, Lance would, not do much during an angle like this. Then we have our final setup and our final sort of, hype for the big tag team title match at Fall Brawl, as Jeff Hardy taking on Chris Harris, and it's a back and forth, really solid, good match, somewhat capped by the fact that it's only 11 minutes. But, Harris does his best, does some brawling, some fighting, but Hardy eventually takes over. Harris maybe goes for the catatonic, but Hardy turns into a DDT. He hits a few moves, Whisper in the Wind, Twist of Fate, goes up top, clean pinfall right in the middle of the ring, Swanton Bomb, 1, 2, 3, and picks up the victory here at Revolution. This gets an 82. Jeff Hardy gets a 94. Chris Harris gets a 76. Crowd pops for that. Hardy celebrates. Harris turns him around, and there's a stare down, but then there's a quick handshake, and he sort of points at Hardy's tag team belt, and that makes Matt Hardy gets in, but then James Storm also gets in, and there's a bit of a stare down as the announcers put over. It's going to be a big tag team main event between two of the best in the business, as the Hardys take on America's Most Wanted at Fall Brawl, only on pay-per-view. And yeah, this gets a 69, nice, and yeah, hopefully this is going to be real good. And then we have a quick little 2-minute hype promo, basically putting over Booker T's past accomplishments in his career, one of those one of those hype videos you'd see as a commercial during a WWE pay-per-view, just basically show him showing up in WCW, Harlem P, fighting the Road Warriors, the Steiners, battling Chris Benoit, Best of Sevens, his first world title victory, all that good stuff. And this is basically just to turn him over to a new gimmick, which is Veteran Champ, which gets a poor gimmick, which is unfortunate. I tried. I really did. Because his sucker gimmick was adequate, and I wanted to change it, but here we are. Okay. Oh well. Anyway, Monty Brown comes in, who, has not had anything really to do since the Mayhem tournament, and he just kills Ryan Drago from our Dev Fed in 2 minutes with a pounce. And this gets a 69, Brown gets a 79, Ryan Drago gets a 46, and post-match, Monty just paces outside of the ring screaming, and then he runs to the back as the announcers put over. Monty Brown is going to look to make an impact at Fall Brawl, possibly. And then we have a fun little angle here as all the women babyfaces are at sort of a roadhouse bar. We got Lala Vivez, Roni Jonah, Anna Vidal, Nikki Radcliffe. Nikki Radcliffe sort of like dressed to the nines, like a little uncomfortable. But Annie, her partner's like, come on, I've had fun here partying places like this. The social scene is not just high end clubs, and Nikki agrees, but her agrees, and then they turn to Roni and says, look, you said you were bringing us here for a reason, so what's the reason? Roni says, I'll be right back. Then we get a cut, and Roni comes in walking, and a woman is beside her, sort of like a bigger, rougher girl, like dressed in like a cut-off t-shirt, jean shorts, and she says, look, this woman, I fought with her before in California, and she's a rough, tough fighting woman, and she can be your partner at Fall Brawl and really take it to captivation here from this union. Then ODB, of course, cuts a promo saying she's ready for a fight, to kick ass, whatever. The babyfaces all agree, and it looks like we have our 5th member of the babyface team for War Games, and ODB making her debut. This gets a 45 because I did have it go 6 minutes, but gotta do these things. Yeah, so basically Tomboy gets the gimmick of great, good stuff. And then we have a big tag match as Booker T and Shelton Benjamin, of course, who have been teamed up recently, take on Cash and Cash Siaki. Cash is being involved in Booker's business. It's a back and forth match. Booker and Cash end up on the outside of the ring. Shelton then is able to nail Cash Siaki with sort of a couple suplexes and then hits the pay dirt for the pinfall. A really good match. Shelton gets a 68, Booker gets a 79, Siaki gets a 54, Cash gets a 76. Big win for Shelton, once again here on Revolution. And then post-match, Booker takes the mic, as they're sort of separated. He rolls in the ring and says, Cash, sucker, you've been getting in my business for way too long. So at Fall Brawl, I want you in that ring for a street fight. And one or the other, we're going to see who the better man is. Because I've been in this business way too long to deal with punks like you. Can you dig that? And Cash enters and says, I'm money, and I'm going to prove everybody when I beat you, a former world champion, Booker. So these are 2 matches that were sort of like basically set up in the past couple of weeks, but not officially. So first, we have which should have set up at the opening, and of course, what happened last week in the 5-on-5 is AJ Styles versus Billy Kidman, and then this match of Booker versus Cash, and I'll change the there we go. So this gets an 83 as Cash is really good on mic, Booker's really good, and 4 minutes, so that was probably near the cap as we move forward here on Revolution. And then we have the women backstage as we have basically them going over saying, they're not tired of some, redneck woman Roni once had, that Roni once played for. They're ready to prove once and for all why they're the elite athletes in the women's division. Why they're the greatest group in this business today. That's what Lexi says, which is Nikita says, remember, Fraulein, we're teaming with you for a reason. We will win back our tag team titles soon enough. But we will make you stretch. We will make you scream. We will make you submit and surrender, one way or the other. So Nikita and Lucina get serious. Captivation being cocky heels, and this gets a 61. And then we have an interesting match as Stigma, who's a local wrestler, comes out. And then Chuck Palumbo comes out, and he just basically like throws him around and saying, is this some great tradition? Is this lucha? And he like sort of throws Stigma around, and then she just like drops him with like a big boot and pins him after a couple minutes, like not even full throw, just like a big boot and just like smirk, like cockily pins him. This gets a 55 because Stigma only gets a 12, and Chuck Palumbo gets an 83. And then Palumbo takes Mike, like basically like this, Stigma, who's just a local wrestler, like Palumbo continues the beatdown and says, this is what I'm supposed to be afraid of? Some little man who got lucky? No. I am going to be world champion. I'm going to prove my destiny, and I am going to be the man here in Revolution once and for all. Q Ray Jr. coming out, and Ray comes out and like sort of like, helps the young kid out. And he rolls in the ring and says, Chuck, if you want to fight, you can fight me. Not some kid who maybe I helped get into wrestling and into wearing a mask. But I'm right here. I'm the world champion for a reason, because I won in the ring. 1-on-1. No questions asked. Kid may not be happy about it, but if you ask him, he told me, I beat him. So if you want to fight, let's have a fight. And Palumbo sort of says, no. I don't want to make these fans like happy. They see a world title in front of them. No. I'm going to wait till Fall Brawl. A few more days, right? You can think about it. You can say have some plan or some way to get around it, but deep down, you know. I'm going to take you apart. I'm going to beat you, defeat you, and I'm going to walk out as a new WCW World Champion. Or just sort of shakes his head and says, Chuck, we'll just have to see about that. So there you go, 100, and big stare down as we, main event, Palumbo Ray Jr. for the World Championship. And then we have cut to a fun little angle as Keith Walker is training with some, random jobbers, throwing them around. And then in comes Jamie Knoble, and, Keith is ready to fight. And Jamie's like, no, look, we have a match set for Fall Brawl. And I quit match. But Walker, I'm not here to do that right now. I'm here to issue a warning. You can still walk away. Look, you haven't done much in this business, and you probably won't. But I'm a great wrestler. Multi-time champion. I've beaten legends. You've done nothing. You got a manager blowing smoke up your ass that you can do something, but you have not fight a true fighter. A true guy who can get down and dirty, son. So Walker, you want to fight? So be it. But you're going to get your ass tapped out, and you're going to have to quit. And Knoble walks away as Tori says, no, wait. Look, Knoble, you're trying to make a statement on my client. And he doesn't like to talk. He likes to actually in the ring. But I will tell you, at Fall Brawl, you're going to face the biggest loss of your life, of your career. And Keith Walker grounds you into the mat and makes you tap out. So there you go. Another match set up. Basically it's been set up, but not officially. So Knoble versus Walker. This gets a 68. Fun stuff. And then we have a fun little match here as Sean Stasiak, who we probably have not seen on TV in months, comes out and does a drop in Paul London in 5 minutes. And he's probably not happy about that. I mean, I'm sure he just basically walked through the match. They actually have good chemistry, so maybe he does a little bit of fun little big man, small man. London eventually gets the win. It says it was a drop salt, but some sort of high flying move. And Stasiak rolls away, not to be used for another 6 months. I mean, he's a guy who I just never found nothing to do with, so he's just waiting out his contract. And this gets a 70 as Paul London gets a freaking 98, because of course he does, and Stasiak gets a 50. And he takes the mic and he says, Van Dam, Heyman, last week you said a lot. And here's the reality. So much the truth. Van Dam, you might be the best wrestler on the planet today, even if you're not the world champion. You are Mr. Wednesday Night, and you're one of the best in the world. But I'm just as damn good. Every step of my career here in WCW, people have doubted me. When I would be tag team champions, they doubted me. When I was fighting for the US title, they doubted me. Hell, when I had a couple shots at the world championship, they doubted me. But I went there every single night knowing I can do this. I've trained with some of the best in the world in the history of this business, and you know who I'm talking about. So, Van Dam, get ready for a war at Fall Brawl, because I'm going to bring it 100%, and I sure as help you do too. Because I want our match, not the world title match, not War Games. I want our match to be the match that's on everybody's lips after Fall Brawl. So good babyface promo from London, putting over the big match at Fall Brawl, which gets us an 81. And then we have a big tag team match, basically as a preview of the women's title match. As Joanie Laurer teams up with Gail Kim to take on Tricia Skye and Alyssa Alexander. Basically the two women in the title match sort of come off each other. We have some spots between Tricia Skye and Gail Kim, basically going off their little previous feud. But Laurer comes in, beats up Alexander. She does her best, but she's still a relatively young wrestler. Lauler's a multi-time women's champion. Gail Kim then actually hits a big eat defeat on Alexander. Laurer then follows that up with the big powerbomb and picks up the victory before Tricia Skye can make the save. Just sort of straightforward to put over the challenger tag match. This gets a 77. Gail Kim gets a 78. Joanie Laurer gets a 77. Alexander gets a 60. And Tricia Skye gets an 82. And then post-match, there's just a stare down as, Joanie's the heel here, but she's just a cocky asshole who thinks she can just be handed the women's world title back. She's, hasn't been violent. She hasn't really attacked Tricia. She just said, because she thinks she doesn't need to do that. She's going to walk into Fall Brawl and squash Tricia like she has so many other women in her career. But obviously, it's not going to be that way. At least that's what Tricia hopes. 73, good stare down as we move forward. As we have a fun little promo, as Ken Anderson says, I'm the television champion for a reason. Because I'm the biggest bastard walking around here. We'll do what I say, we'll say what I think, and kick ass who's ever in front of me. As he's like walking down, like sort of backstage, and he walks into Key and Sharp. He says, what you doing in my way? Sharp says, what are you doing in my way? I'm on the path, you're not. Ken says, I don't care about that BS. I'm the TV champion, and you're nothing, son. So just get the hell out of my way. And Sharp just sort of looks at him and like stares a hole at him and then walks away. As Anderson says, now, as I say, I'm the television champion. And next week, I'm going to defend that title right here on Revolution against somebody. I don't give a damn who. So there we go. 85, good promo. Just sort of like reminding people Anderson's around and the TV champs to say I didn't have room for a match from this week, honestly. Then we have a Raw recap focusing on the tag title match. And then we have our main event. And it's a banger. It's a friggin' banger. Ah, God. Billy Kidman, you're so good, but your pop won't go above a certain rate. So yeah, I mean, this is just a back and forth match. The actors put over, like it's been officially signed, the Truth versus Lance Storm for the United States title. And AJ and Kidman, of course, have their spots, so it's Truth and the Storm. Very good back and forth match. We have even have some Storm and Style stuff and Truth fighting Kidman, double teams, Storm and Kidman, who were, tag champs for like basically a cup of coffee at the start of last year, I believe. Are the more well-oiled team here, but Styles, gets his big moves in, moonsault GT, Fosbury flop punch to the outside, Truth gets his brawling, gets into his sort of like split into, a kick, and he actually hits the Truth or Consequences on Storm, but Kidman makes the save at the last second. Things break down. Eventually, Kidman hits Styles low, Kid Crusher, 1, 2, 3, in the middle of the ring, picks up the dirty victory a few days before the face-off again at Fall Brawl, as this gets a 94 overall, Truth gets an 83, AJ gets a 94, Billy Kidman gets a 92, and Lance Storm gets an 88. And overall, 93. Really good show. I mean, basically, Palumbo Ray, main event, rest of the stuff sort of was like build up, and But hey, good stuff. And we'll see how this goes. Konyo Masuno, who is not a good announcer. So I'm just as a note, like my sort of like rule, well, I still need to actually do it, is for regions, I'll find a picture if they're actually good. Like they're just going to do like random indie matches forever. I don't really care, But if they might do something, I'll do something. Oh, Ken Anderson actually did a catchphrase. Okay, I'll need to figure that out. Anyway. Wise, just the figures. So, okay. Oh, right. First, what I want to do is do a full preview here. So, pre-booking. I want to pre-book another couple matches here for you guys. So, Knoble, of course, versus Keith Walker. Oh, okay. I did already book that. I thought I did, but maybe I thought I did. Okay. Then it's going to be the Truth versus Lance Storm for the United States Championship. There we go. All right. So, of course, at Fall Brawl, main event is going to be Palumbo versus Wright Jr. Ray, just won the belt last month, but Palumbo thinks, he's going to be the top of Revolution and win the title, the top of the WCW. Pretty straightforward here. We have the big women's title match as Joanie Laurer returned after being off for a few months after losing the title, and she's had her sights right back on the Women's World Champion, Tricia Skye. We have our tag title match between two of the best in the business. Hardys, of course, showed up a couple months ago and immediately won the tag belts. AMW are former tag team champions, and now they're here on Revolution. And, they want to become 4-time tag team champions. Pretty straightforward, and hopefully this match will be as good as a 2005 Hardys AMW match could actually be. Then we have Truth versus Lance Storm. Of course, Truth just won the U.S. title off of their stablemate Mike Awesome. Storm wants to win that title back for the triumvirate. We have, this is sort of like a big match. Women's War Games. This is going on the undercard for a long while. We have Captivation of Lexi James, Lizzie Dumas, and Angel Fox. Then we have the former women's tag team champions of your friends and mine, Nikita Colt and Wasina Busick. Then you have the babyfaces, all our fun little undercard babyfaces that have been going after European Disunion for the past few months. Social Scene, of course, surprisingly won the tag belts, and it looked like European Disunion was going to push Captivation away, but then they continued to beat down. The other babyfaces made the save, and then we saw last week ODB was added as a 5th member. So yeah. Then go to other matches on the card, of course. We have Paul London versus RVD. RVD was doing the Van Dam Invitational. London showed up, shockingly beat him at Mayhem, and now this is the rematch. Knoble versus Keith Walker. This has been on for a few months. Of course, Walker stunned Knoble by defeating the Mayhem tournament. Knoble came back, attacked him, and now it's going to be an I Quit match. Booker T versus Cash has been going on for a few months, also part of the Mayhem tournament. Cash helped since he had to defeat Booker T. They have matches back and forth. Booker's sort of our veteran, grizzled veteran at this point. Cash is a rising young star. And can Cash catapult himself main event by beating a former 6-time world champion? We'll just have to see. And then we, of course, have a big match with not a ton of build, but just sort of like you can just happen to have that build as AJ Styles, your call shot winner, against former world champion Billy Kidman. This was really built up, last week in the Big Tin Men. And, I don't want to say, hey, there's a spot on the card I want to fight, have a good match, but sort of like, two of the top stars on the show who've been sort of circling each other for a while now, and then they're facing off. And I believe that is everything, unless I'm forgetting something obvious. If we go over storylines real quick, so over on Nitro, we got Against the Darkness at a 60. Yeah, this might just be over. I do have a plan for it to be over at Havoc, but it is sort of like crap to bed for the last few months, honestly. Chosen Backgrounds is at an 86. So yeah, fun stuff. Cruiser Stuff's at a 52. Evolution is a Mystery at a 73. Mayhem Showdowns at an 81. Top Guy Stuff is at an 83. Ryan Chavo Guerrero Jr. is at a 78. So really, nothing, it's weird. Raw. And Advocate between Heyman and RVD is at an 89. David versus Goliath is at a 93. Disunion Resort is at a 56. Helping Your Understudy is at a 66. Joanie's Back is at a 75. Knoble Strikes Back at a 65. New Rivals is at a 79. Revolution Rising is at a 90. And the Tag Title Feud is at a 75. So, fun stuff for that. If we go over to the WWE, they had SmackDown. SmackDown had Cherry Slice defeating La Angel Oscura. Yep, unfortunately they're not booking the way they should, but it's what it is. Rikishi and the Streets to the Suburbs defeated Mark Henry and Little Fellas by countout in 78. Christian defeated Jerry Sags of all people. Undertaker killed Steve Bradley. Steve Richards defeated Randy Orton. Kane defeated Scott Hall. Chris Benoit and Lesnar defeated Billy Gunn Regal in a cage match in a 92. So yeah, interesting what they're doing there. If we go to our Dev Fed, so NWA Wildside, again, for TV, Tony Jones defeated Austin Creed. Rick Michaels and Ryan Drago defeated Rain Man and Onyx. Lazarus defeated JC Dias by DQ. And Stone Mountain, Cassidy, and Jimmy Rave defeated Matt Cross, Akabono, and Jason Cross. Fun stuff. Then the Weekly House Show had Rick Michaels, Stone Mountain, Cassidy O'Reilly defeat Austin Creed, JC Daz, and Matt Morgan. We had Adam Ortiz defeat Rain Man. Lazarus and Tony Jones defeat Matt Cross and Onik, and Dagon Briggs and Suzuki. And Jimmy Rave defeated Adam Jacobs, who I'm kind of shocked that they haven't signed to an exclusive anyway. Then if we go to our women's Dev Fed, we had Amazing Kong, Carla Chambers defeated Madison Eagles and Annette Blanchard in a 39 as they're all being built up. We had Amy Sakura, Ariel, and Portia Perez defeating Tracy Taylor, ODB, and Michelle. And then we had Becky Bayless defeated Madison Sinclair. And Miho Osaka defeated Miss Molly in a 70. Yeah, ODB was sort of like the woman, because our other baby faces are either busy with other stuff or not quite there. So she was sort of a fun choice to use. If we go to HWA, for their weekly show, honestly, wait. I feel like I showed you guys. Maybe they just did the same match. Sean Navarro defeated Andre Shear in a 28. Ricky Champagne defeated Alex Shelley. Ray Silva defeated Joel Grunge, who's a regen. And yeah, that's about it of note. Ohio Valley, their weekly loop, had John Cena defeat John Morrison on the pre-show. BJ Whitman defeated Sean Casey. Insane Dragon defeated Trailer Park Trash. Two Tough Tony defeated Rory Fox. Capital and Shark Boy defeated Shaggy, Two Dope, and Andy Douglas, so half the Naturals and an ICP member. Sure. Riptide defeated Evelyn Chambers. Lizzie Borden defeated Chantel Taylor. Danny Pewter defeated Mafia in the main event. And then, on the Saturday show, let's see here. Andy Douglas defeated Insane Dragon. Sure. Shaggy Two Dope defeated John Cena. Again, hilarious. Let's see here. Joy Ryan defeated BJ Whitmer. Lizzie Borden defeated Riptide. And yeah, fun stuff. And then, if we go around the world, if we go back to last week's, yeah, I showed you guys this. Yeah, okay. Let's see here, DDT. I felt like there was a big show I wanted to show you guys, but oh right, Chick Fight had their show. They're about a year in. Things of note: Lexi Fife versus Alicia was their main event. Lady Apache, Simple Luscious, Esther Maria defeated Sarah Del Rey, Lila Rosa Negra, and Susan Morton. So there you go. And as well as heroes is Heather Savage and Mickey Knuckles. So yeah. Again, it's the mid-2000s was a very dark time for women's wrestling in general, especially that we have basically any woman of note, like between us and WWE. Let's see here. I want to say they're... Oh, right. Big Japan had another big show at... Okay. I love this game. Sometimes it's very unrealistic. Big Japan is never getting 13,000 people, especially... I mean, a main event versus of Suzuki and Tenru versus Takagi and Kengo Kimura. Yeah, no. Let's see here. Dublin Championship Wrestling had a big show. Nothing of note, except, of course, The Legend, the UK Undertaker. Grand Scene Quebec had a show. Only thing of note, Bora Rowland defeated Williams. Brady Pre defeated Derek Wild. El Generico defeated Drake Styles. A1 had a match. Independent Wrestling from Winnipeg. Joe Doring had a match. Eric Young had a match. Paul Diamond had a match. Carl Ouellet had a match. And Mikey's only getting 39, so yeah. WC had a big show anniversary in front of 3,000 people. So, they had Prost Jr. defeat Johnny Gunn, aka that jobber Tom Brandy. Ice Train and Tommy Diablo defeated Mufasa Said and Eddie Colon. Sure. Savio Vega went to a no contest with the Tahitian Warrior, aka LA Smooth. Jesus Callow Jr. defeated Buff Bagwell to retain the WC European title. Evening Express, which is Apollo and Shane Sewell, defeated Thunder and Lightning. Fidel Sierra defeated Alex Monvalvo. And main event, Carly Colon defeated Julio Estrada. So there you go. Big show for that. Oh yeah. So, Impact, they lost their TV deal. And you know how I mentioned, like, in the last show, you probably don't, that Bam Bam was working for New Japan? Well, Bam Bam signed an exclusive contract with New Japan, and thus dropped the Impact title. Now it's vacant, so they had their big show, 8,000 people, only 50,000 buys. We had Frankie Kazarian versus Alexander Addison, a regen. We had Giant Singh defeating Brett Albright by DQ. Imagine, like, Albright just brought a chair and began being down the future. Yeah, there you go. Beefcake and Hogan cut a promo. Now Warrior defeated Derek Sparrow and Chris Nowinski in a tables match. Okay, sure. Amazing Red, Road Warrior Animal, and Shiver, which is Glacier, defeated Sick Boy, El Condor, and Samson in a tables match. Where Scott Vick, Sick Boy, did the best. David Flair defeated Jerry Sags. Okay. In a 36. And the consortium of BPA and Hogan, the Mega Maniacs, defeated Roadkill and The Miz. Sure. Where Roadkill did the best. And then, in the semifinal, Lex Luger defeated Marcus Meltek, who you might remember as a regen that was in my dev fed forever that I eventually let go, for the Impact Championship. And Lex Luger only got a 38, but he still won the title. In the main event, Jason Vex, aka Jason Cross, defeated Marty Jannetty for the Impact X title. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of talent out there, but that's really bad. That's really bad. Outside of that, CCW had a show. Anything of note? Nope. And yeah, IWA Puerto Rico. Actually, let me just see. Okay, so WC had their big show, and they did a... Where were they? Hold on. Okay, so Anniversario got a 57. So IWA Puerto Rico, who started their competition at a big show, and they got a 49. Okay, so we had Demon defeat Hot Stuff Randers. October, D'Lo Brown defeated Brian Lee in a 1999 Raw match. Ernest Miller defeated Midian. Okay. Tony Gazzini defeated Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty doing all sorts of jobs. Major Stash defeated Sandman. Okay. Perry Saturn defeated Jerry Sags for the IWA PR TV title. And El Condor and El Nini defeated Rick Steiner and Animal. Sure. Puerto Rico, I guess, is where everybody who used to work for the two big feds that hasn't been signed by one of the two feds is. Anyway, that's it. Next up is Fall Brawl. So, that'll be a big show. Then after that's Havoc. Then it's Bound for Glory. Then it's Starrcade. But that's for now. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below what you're liking and not liking. And subscribe to the channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content, including this series. And honestly, whatever else might pop up. I want to get back to the Ring of Honor series, just a version of time, during wrestling and basketball GM. Just, guys, it's nice out. It's summer. So things might be so on that end, except for this series until it's too crappy out where I want to go out during the weekend or stuff. But anyway, you do want to hear me randle, want to hear me done. So that's all for now. Talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.